Welcome to Mandulo Podcast. We are here to have these very intimate conversations. They are almost like sacred because we are bridging the gap between the head and the heart space. We are bridging the gap of spirituality meeting science, and we are allowing ourselves through these conversations to connect the dots. So, I have been practicing yoga for 10 years. I was a civil engineer prior to that. And I realized that going from corporate, going into my passion, or what I thought was my passion and my saving grace, actually was not it. I found myself unhappy in both circumstances and I just couldn't figure out what it was. 2020 came and 2020 really assisted. It was like that deeper jumpstart or kick, a push into the direction of understanding that no matter which framework I came from, the framework was all about helping me understand myself, and the framework was helping me understand connection. What I realized at the end of everything that I'd been chasing my freedom, any form of rebellion that I had, was because I wanted connection. And I wanted connection not from a point of dictation, but a point of feeling and really allowing me to see you so you can see me, so we can acknowledge one another, right? Because everything is in relationship. We are in relationship. So how do we learn how to relate better? So I help you holistically heal by helping you recalibrate your nervous system out of survival mode and into thriving mode. And I also help you rewire your brain, which is about tapping into the subconscious mind. Okay, so we combine those two together. And the medicine that I use there is talking, which is about like connecting to you in that form. And then I do it through breath work and meditation. I do it through movement and embodiment practicing or practices. So that can come in still movements, more active movements to live active, but still slow and controlled. And then we move into sound, where I do like chakra healing, sound baths, helping you really reawaken your voice that has been suppressed, really. And then also touch in the form of body work, and then and helping you adjust physically and just mentally touching the heart. So we go into how can I stay consistent, just so I can help you get a broad perspective, because my mind is going to help you understand from the root cause of why the question, how can I stay consistent? First, we have to look at consistency is the ability to show up regardless of your preferences. I'll say that again. Consistency is your ability to show up regardless of your preferences. Now, in order to look at one thing, we have to look at almost the opposing energy of it. So we look at the lack of consistency. The lack of consistency is your inability to show up because of your preferences. I'll repeat that again. Your lack of consistency is your inability to show up because of your preferences. Okay, so now we have to look at, okay, we're linking the two, we're understanding the relationship between the two. Then we go, what are preferences? Preferences in the most simplest form for me is what you'd prefer to do versus what you need to do. Preferences is what you would prefer to do versus what you need to do. What you need to do versus what you want to do is a head and heart issue. It's a control and freedom issue. It's your inner child's way of pushing against the system or your conditioning, which we classify this as rebellion. And it is caused by the inautonomy that you have, because you are operating out of survival mode. So if you are in survival mode, that means that what you are really seeking at the end of the day is safety and connection. Because safety is connection. Without connection, you do not feel safe, because you do not feel that there is a container that is holding the energies of low and high, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling happy, and then that safe container in your body. Okay, so your safety affects your health. So really, as we look at these things holistically, we are looking at health and safety, because ultimately that is what makes you thrive. That is what gives you purpose. That is what makes you feel alive. That is what helps you feel inspired, and then in turn you become inspirational and an inspiration to others, right? And then when we move in spirit, inspired, we're moving in spirit, so we're moving connected. Okay, so if you are in survival mode, that means that your nervous system is completely out of whack, right? Your head and your heart are not connected at all. There's very little disconnection. There's very little connection between your head and your heart. Now, what needs to happen first is, in order for you to come into consistency, you need to learn how to recalibrate your nervous system and rewire the brain. Now, the reason why you want to be consistent in something, whether it be an exercise, whether it be a certain routine that you're trying to create, you are trying to create safety for yourself. The thing is, if your nervous system is out of whack and you are in survival mode, you will understand safety no matter how calm, even if the people who caused that sense of being in survival mode are no longer there, you will still attract that, because that is your vibrational point, right? You are attracting from feeling and association, which has an association. Now, if you do not change your association, then you're going to be stuck in the same repetition. So history will repeat itself. Okay. I'll say this again. Consistency, what you are doing is trying to create a framework of something, a routine to create safety. You have to rewire the brain and give it a different association of what safety is. So now, in order to understand what safety is, it's almost like we have to go into the reverse. Who you thought was safe were your parents, the first part, right? If you had your parents or your caretakers, let me rather say that. If your caretakers were also moving in survival mode, that vibration would have passed down into your nervous system, and passed down into your nervous system even from your great grandparents. So in this aspect, we move into generational healing and trauma that is in your body. Okay. And now that reversal, you go from your parents, that transfers into you, survival mode hits, you understand safety now because it came from your parents or your caretakers as almost, for lack of a better word, survival mode, which also had an energy of chaos. So you leave home, you go and explore, you find a relationship, you find a new job, you go explore a different country, and you keep meeting the same sort of energy that you left behind. That's because your nervous system is projecting an emotion from a certain association that you are familiar with. Chaos, survival mode. So now, in order for you to reassociate what thriving mode is versus survival mode, the rewiring of the brain has to come through breath, meditation, movement, sound, connection, talking. But the first frame of mind is understanding how to be safe in your body, how to interpret the anxiety that is rising for a lack of breathing. So when you start to feel tense and your head is not connected to your heart, then you understand that you have been living in that survival mode. But that has to change, and it will change, but that is going to come through practice. So now we go into body. This is what the work is now. We release ourselves from constantly moving into external validation and acquisition outside of ourselves, because we understand now that nothing is going to suffice the inner connection that is required between the head and the heart, which is in the body. So the head and the heart connected into the body. We connect to heart because that is what gives us life. That's prana. That is life force. So you need to be able to connect to the life force, because the life force is like your charging system. So your life force is your form of electricity that powers up your power bank or your charge or your battery, right? But you have to go directly to source versus outside of source, outside of ourselves, in external acquisition. Okay. So I wrote here. Okay. So because you've been operating out of habit mode, why you can't be consistent? It's because it is serving your why. Now, your why is your purpose, but what could also be your why is your lack of purpose. Your lack of purpose, because growing up you interpreted your purpose as needing to be perfect in order to feel good enough to be seen and to be heard. So do you see the link there? It's saying, I only have purpose. I only connect perfect. I only connect. Let me write that down quickly. I only connect my purpose when I am perfect. When I am perfect. Do you see the link there? So we go back to consistency and understand, because of the survival mode and your nervous system being out of whack, you're trying to create safety from a point of not feeling safe. So you keep vibrating that energy of not feeling safe. And because you don't know your purpose, or you lack purpose from time to time, and you're trying to seek what your purpose is that in your belief system, part of your belief system possibly is, I only connect my purpose when I'm perfect. I can only connect to my purpose, or my purpose is being perfect. So you've associated being good enough with being perfect. I feel that because I feel that. Do you know what I mean? I feel that on your behalf too, because I feel that. That's why I had to train myself to understand all these things too, that, oh my goodness, this whole time I am moving and I'm shape-shifting and I'm creating and I'm thinking, I'm living my passion, was I just needed to be perfect. And if I wasn't perfect, and if it wasn't perfect, then it's not good enough. And now the work that I do now is going, oh, no, honey. No, you are more than good enough. You are more than good enough. All you need to do is breathe. To understand, all you need to do is breathe. And that's the beauty of the work. And to answer that question of how can I stay consistent, is by understanding that I am good enough, that I don't need to be perfect. When I teach in a embodiment practice, I'm always teaching, take your time. This is the one space you get to learn to take your time, that no one needs anything from you. I don't need, like, the way in which I teach is so, it's for some people a bit too simple. It's just like, come on, we must get moving. Let's get grooving, And I'm like, no. Enjoy this deliciousness with the connection to your breath, with the divinity within you. That is the sacred convergence that comes through connection. That is a sacred convergence that happens when you rewire your nervous system to thrival mode from survival mode. And then you rewire the brain, the heart medicine, which is your subconscious mind, and the breath. So I hope that was clear for you. And if there's any questions on these, I'm just going to, from now on, answer certain questions apart from the other questions that I still need to answer from the collected data from all these years that I've been a practitioner and a healer. So thank you for taking the time to listen. Please do like, share, and subscribe. The more we are visible, the more we can connect to people, the more we can connect to people, the more we can have safer people. The more we have safer people, we have more happier people who don't need to fight, who don't need to externalize their internal wars anymore, because they have peace with themselves. And if we extend that vibration, it's part of our work as a collective to help each other heal. So I look forward to this journey. I'm really excited to share. And however it touches you, if you do want a one-on-one session with me, please do book. Details will be below. Thank you.